Good evening. All right. So let's get started. Good morning, Karakan, or still before morning, so good evening. Just before you have to go to work. I mean, man, what problems, right? So what I need to work on next is the post-stage screen. And we got a lot of stuff to change with this thing. So let's see. I gotta just get started. Yeah. So let's dive in. You have a second screen at work? Excellent. Yeah, it was a thing a lot of people do at like Amazon, etc. People would always have something going on with Twitch on their second monitor. Just kind of like a radio. Alright, so what do we got here that we need is we need the kind of the upper area, and then we need this lower area. So we're not going to list the objectives, huh? I'd like to. Oh, it was kind of like this dot 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 thing here. Well, maybe what I can do is turn this objective area up here into kind of one thing. Alright, so we've got our objectives container, we've got our left pane and our right pane. So we got to split like this. What we want to do is take this tier container out and have it go below. So we have the left and right panes. Keep them all watching. Yeah, it depends. I don't know. When I've got something kind of going on the other side, it's usually when I'm trying to chill out and not get too bogged down in the work I'm doing. Kind of like, especially if you've got some massive process you got to just sit there and wait for, it can help you stay in your freaking chair. So there's always that, at least for me. Okay, so our rank pane, let's lower that height, something like 30. I could see how that could work. So let's snag the tier stuff. And put it below. Alright. So let's make that result. Let's see, post stage, rate rank pane. The height is 100% minus 4 vmin. Let's see, we got 30, so I guess the height should be 30 minus 4, so we had 2 on the top and bottom, or something like that. Or maybe we had, yeah. So if that's 30, we're going to have 28, we're going to have 26 vmin. All right. All right, so I need to get rid of this duration thing. It's just not helpful. $26.26, all right. Our image for our rank is what? 35 and 35? Okay, this needs to be not so wide. So what do we got? The left pane is 100% minus 4 vmin. So why don't we make it 70% and 30% or something like that? That didn't quite work out, did it? It's kind of working out. It's kind of working out. No. Oh, I did height. Making random... What? I have no idea. That sounds really weird. Okay, so we have our objective list. So the objective lines are width 100. So the question would be, should the objectives be centered? Probably these, we got these lines, which have results and all that. Oh, what if we made them 45%? No. It's a very annoying fad. Yeah, it's weird as fuck. It just seems like stoner TV or something. So let's see, we've got this objective item, and then the name. The width is, let me see, if we have the objective item and the objective item result, maybe I could do a calc of maybe 100% minus, we have a width and height of 3? 100% minus like 6 vmin or something like that. Is that going to do it? It's not too bad. Let's see, this is going to be, let's see, what's our margin left? We increase this to like, it was 8. Maybe if we did something based on percents, is that going to stay constant? It's pretty close to constant. I won't point to you, look at a library and just say it won't work out. For integrating libraries, it really depends. Everybody's sensitive to the daisy mode and not even have they even know the feeling of version. Research. Alright. I'm just gonna spill energy drink all over myself. I'm not a slob. Yes, I am. Alright, at what point do I look at a library? Well, it really depends. It depends on the library and what the library is doing for me. So, there's kind of two things I look for in a library. One of them is that they do something I don't want to learn how to do. So if I have a library that does some task, like let's say some heat map creation stuff, and I just don't give a damn about learning how to do that, I'll probably spend more time doing the library and working with it if it's not being super amazing. if it's something I want to work on, I usually have a pretty short fuse, and I'm like, no, I want to get in there and figure out how this works. And on the other hand, it's also like if it's, I think the library is just poorly created, you kind of get into this like, well, this is going to be broken too, isn't it? You know, sort of situation where you're just like, yeah, this is going to be broken and this is going to suck. And um, but it depends. Usually integrating libraries isn't too bad. Like I haven't had, it's usually pretty quick to toss a library out the window. Like you start doing something and then there's no documentation, or building it sucks, or stuff doesn't do what you expect. You know, the principle of least surprise, right? Like if stuff is very surprising, then my fuse goes real short. I'm just like, obviously whoever made this doesn't think like me. And while not everybody has to think like me, certainly I work better in systems where the designer thinks like I do. All right. Set an alarm for 8:30 a.m.
All right, your alarm set for 8:30 a.m.
All right. So for the tier list stuff here, we've kind of got a mock-up that looks like kind of like this, but the main thing is I think we're not going to do this. I think we're going to stick to the objective list with the results on the top, but we're going to need to make this thing. So we need this progress bar object thing with each one of these lines being a progress bar, which also has description nodes on each chunk of it contained within a thing. So probably what I should do is I should just make it from scratch because it'll be simpler that way. So I am just going to get rid of these things for the tiers. Alright, so we're going to need a header area. I think I've hit about every roadblock in this library. It's a pain in the ass to build. Everything is a surprise. They really don't make anything easy for me and force me to learn all these things I'd rather just stay away from. And just recently I'm getting seg faults from their functions with no real explanation. What's the library? If you don't mind throwing that out there. Okay, so for this mock-up, I fucking hate Skype. Skype is so stupid. Alright, so... And I gotta say, the biggest reason I hate Skype right now is because you can't turn off fucking animated emotes. Like, I'm sorry, but I can't have your shit open if there's some stupid ass... If every emote has to be animated, like... Kiss my ass. I do not want that on my screen. Alright, let's read. This is the Computational Geometry Algorithms Library. Software provide... Oh, geez, I already hate this already. Boolean operations on polygons. What the fuck does that even mean? It's a Boolean operation on a polygon. You're like, all right, so you do something with polygons. This is academic horseshit, isn't it? I hate academic programming. Let me guess, it's some. Oh yeah, automated docs. That's real fun. We rely on other highly specialized libraries and software. You can just tell who wrote this is a snob. When's the last time I said, like, we rely on the most sophisticated modern engine, Unreal 4? It's like, it's a fucking sales pitch in documentation form. You don't need that. All you need to know is, what's the list of fucking libraries? You know, like, Seagull heavily uses the STL, and in particular, like, yeah, this. It's like all you should say is bullet point STL, bullet point boost, bullet point GMP, NPFR, bullet point zlib, bullet point OpenGL, bullet point Qt, with also a little thing that says, yes, it's not the modern Qt, it's Qt5. Or whatever. I don't know what. Qt sucks. It's just, as soon as you pull Qt in, you might as well pull in the rest of the damned universe. Also, this is the installation fucking documentation. Look at this. Look at this shit. How long is this? This is like a joke I make to Adam. It's a simple 10-step process, but this is 20 steps just to get fucking started. And as soon as, like, you miss one of these bullet points for installation and what, it won't work on one of your operating systems? It's probably wrong anyway. I'm upset just looking at that. I wouldn't. Academic coding is very different from game coding, in that, in my experience, which is very biased towards game programming, so you'll have to take that, is that academic coding is more about being right about things than it is about getting things done. And in the real world, nobody cares that 5 rockets exploded on the launch pad. They care that you got to the moon, or that you got to the moon within budget. They don't care about, well, you know, it's more efficient if we spend 50 years developing fusion technology. And they're like, dude, it doesn't matter. Flag moon tomorrow. It's like, okay, guys, we're going to build the biggest trebuchet of all time. I wouldn't let this anywhere near my game logic. Alright, Karakan, have a good one. You're going to work, so enjoy gainful employment. So I need a header for this thing, so I need kind of a... The header should be a width of 100%. We're going to have two things in the header. There's going to be a line for the names, and then there's going to be a line for the gems. Well, I guess I'd have to actually see what it does. This just looks like a bunch of science fair projects all strung together. You know, like this is a bunch of people's... Like every one of these bullet point things is like something some student has contributed to it. You know. Ooh. All right. That looks difficult. It looks like to, yeah. Type errors, yeah. It's kind of one of those things where if you need that library, you need somebody who's used it and knows how to use it. The other thing is, if you can find somebody else to commiserate with who has used the library, that can usually help as well. Nothing to get things working faster than a shared bitch fest on something. Post stage screen. Post stage screen. No, we're in. Yeah, post stage screen. Alright, so the height of this guy, I'm going to do 6. I'm going to want font size of 3 for the header. Actually, that doesn't matter. Alright, but width 100% needs to happen. Let's do 3 and 3 for these guys. That's about the right. I wonder if you. Yeah, that's the other thing. Somebody who's gone through and just be like, yeah, just this little thing. Here you go. Here's code that'll save you 2 years of your life. Thank me later. Okay, so the width of every name, if we've got 100 and we got 5, okay, so I can see we're gonna need margins. Tier container. Width, let's see. It's 100 vmin. So why don't we have, what are these margins? 2.5 on here? Margin left 2. Looks like margin left is 2. Okay, so for our tier container, we're going to need a margin left of 2 vmin, and we're going to need a width of 96 vmin. So we've got our bucket ends. So we have a 96 here. Alright, so 75, 80. Alright, so we got 80 to work with. So these things should be 16 wide. And we've got 8 on the left and right that we can deal with. let's see, 17 times 5 is going to be 85. 11, so if we do 17, we've got that. 18 times 5 is going to be 90. So 18 might be what we want to go with. And that gives us 3 on each side. So all we want to do is a width of 18 with a margin left of 3. And the width needs to be 93 vmin. Should probably do a padding left, not a margin left. Okay, so we got those things. Okay, now what we need is these gems. So for the badges, the height is going to be 3 vmin. The badges, the width is going to be 93 again. The font size, the background, padding left. Padding left will have to be 3. So we should see this guy look like that. For all of the actual badge objects, they are going to need to be a width of 18, but they need to be 3 by 3. So height is going to be 3 vmin and width is going to be 3 vmin. And float left. So if it has a width and a height, if it has a, so 18 minus 3 is 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. So we're going to have a margin left of 7.5 and a margin right of 7.5 vmin. We are going to need a background size of cover auto, and then we need all the different styles for this. Okay, so those look like they are proper. Why are they pressed? Why are they not pressed up against the top? We clearly have some sort of margin or padding top issue. So it's because we're floated. I think it has to do with part of this font or something coming down here. So we need the names to be of height 4 so they're overflowing inside of this thing. The other thing we could do is overflow hidden. Maybe that'll fix this. Yeah, overflow hidden also does it. Let's just do a height of 4. Then we got this guy here. So the other thing is that if we could get some sort of achieved thing here, some style that would make this better. We could have even more little icons. Because I kind of want a little thing to go around the image. So I just do that. We could just make it slightly larger. Alright, so I need to make those small images. So we'll just make this pretty simple. Yeah, so we've got our achieved images, and we've got our larger one there. We could also animate it. That's not too bad. It's just like a simple thing there. All right, so now we need this like condition list thing at the bottom here. So we need for every one of our things, we'll need a ranking. So we've got our headers, so we need our post stage rank tier list, and then we need a list item. Let's do list line. So inside of this line, we need a couple things. Let's throw that behind me. We need a text portion on every single one of these nodes, and we also need a background. So we've got our list line. So we're going to need a div here with list line background. And we're going to need the text pieces that go over that background. So let's do list line text, and then inside of that we'll have our list line text item. And so we'll have our backgrounds, and we will segment them by type. So we'll have like bronze here, and then we've got a line. Let's just make sure we got the line properly formatted. List items, and then a list line. Yeah, okay. Alright, so let's get our style going here for this guy. Okay, so the width of this is going to be the same width as kind of our header items and everything else, right? So it's this whole padding left sort of thing. Alright, so this background, I guess the position is going to be absolute, and it's just going to be top of 0 vmin and left of 0 vmin. The height is going to be 4 vmin, and the width is going to be we don't want a padding left at all, do we? Yeah, this is where we want that width of 96. Because it's 100 width right now, right? No, it's not. Let's see, we want 5 of these maybe to fit, so 20 V-min. Alright, so line text is also going to be this left and right. Height is going to be this guy. List line is width and height, does all that stuff. The text there, text items are, what do we have? A width of 18 or whatever. Alright, so the ranked tier header is needing to be 8 vmin in size. So that'll cover that. Then we have our ranked tier list. It's this purple monster thing. Ranked tier line is there. And all this stuff got put up here. So maybe we need relative spacing on these things. Alright, so, and then what we need to do with these backgrounds is I want to change the width of the background based on the type. So it'll be like background.bronze. So what are we going to do? It's going to be a width of 96 is total, right? So we want, I guess, 18 on each one. So it'll be something like this. So I think we want a background and we want a foreground. Yeah, so foreground is the one that's going to have the different colors on it. Background is going to have the kind of, I'll just have a gray color for it. Foreground will keep yellow. So we have gray. So I'll stack these guys up. Alright, let's do our CSS colors. So I can just get some basic colors. Let's see. Azure would be a good one there. And for bronze, that would be maybe chocolate. So that's kind of what it would be, is that our lowest was bronze, so that's why we got bronze. This is going to go off the list, so we need to go to the tier container. Tier container has a height of 50%. The tier dark khaki. Overflow hidden, overflow X hidden, overflow Y scroll or auto. Cramp. That's not what we want at all. We want it to be on the list, the tier list. This just doesn't look good if it scrolls. Problem has to do with this scroll bar, just kind of screws up what we're trying to do here. I'd basically have to float this whole element over to the left, make it a little bit smaller so it'd have enough room for the scroll bar, because we can't just like offset the scroll bar. The other thing to do would be